everybody, we are going to take a look at applying value to an abstract line design and shapes. So again, you should have at least done a worksheet that looked like this, where we learned about the value scale and then applied it to a shape, in that case a sphere, where we were working on cross-hatching and changing pressure and changing pencils. So now we're going to take that same idea and apply it to an already pre-made artwork. So you're getting a worksheet that has the shading copied, not very well, I might add. It's not very smooth, the transitions here, so we'll do that a little bit better. And you're getting a blank one that you're going to then follow along and do. So I'm gonna start this with you and try to remind you of a few helpful hints. So again, have this near you. This is what I'm looking at, but I'm going to slide it out of the way for the purposes of being able to show you the blank one on the video. So reminder of pencils. You have your 2B is in the middle. Your ebony is really an 8B. It's almost a charcoal type of lead. And the 2H being the lightest that you would have. I'm going to use the same exact thing for my 2B, only it's going to look a little bit different, but they are the same. So most beginners want to start with the darkest and then just block in the extreme areas. I'm actually going to have you start with your lightest pencil and build layers. So let's start with a really clean, kind of smaller area. So I'm going to start right here, and you'll notice the lines are very clean and crisp, and the direction in which that design of the cross-hatching goes. They're starting here, and they're pointing down, and you're following that curve out, just like we followed the curve of the sphere. So beginning with, and again, I am right-handed. I tend to like to rotate it and have it be opposite so I can press and lift away from my body. You don't have to feel confined to the paper being always perfectly up and down as if it was a writing or math assignment. Have it be most comfortable for you and your arm. And again, if you're left-handed, that would be different. So I'm pressing pretty hard. 2H pencil at this point. You'll notice I'm always pointing to this spot here, this tip of kind of a triangular shape, and then I'm extending out. But each time I'm lifting, pressing, lifting. So I'm already establishing some value within it. Pressing, lifting. I'm going to switch to my 2B pencil. Again, you can go ahead and fill that zone in. I don't want to extend quite as far as I just did, but I want it to blend. So very, very lightly, very, very lightly at this point. I'm going to start to kind of curve around. And going into my super dark, I really can just block that edge in. Don't be tempted to just smudge your hand. You lose all control of it. At this point, I can go back to my lightest pencil, which is a 2H, and fix this area that isn't as soft in the transition. What I don't want to see where it just is almost an outline shape of white and then instantly black. This transition is what we're trying to learn and practice right now. So a smooth kind of blend, if you will. And again, that happens with pressing really light right here. I'm barely kind of touching the paper. Trying to work that area to be just a little less choppy. And I could cross it if I'd like. So if I rotate that and show you side by side, this is the area I'm looking at. It's the one I just did. So let's move on to the next space. So the one right next to it is kind of a half circle going on. So I'm going to start with that. And again, whatever is easiest for you and your arm and direction that's most comfortable for you. But my two cross-hatching directions, again, following the form there, and then this one also extends that way, just like the sphere actually when we did that one. I'm going to rotate this so I have a nice clean. Again, each one is individual lines at this stage. Just building 2H pencil. Starting with the lightest because I can extend those out, those cross-hatching lines, again, curving. I'm following that curve with the direction of my cross-hatching lines. This is what we're going to want to do on our summative drawings as well. You want to react to the surface. I'm going to actually kind of just fill in this edge so it blocks in. So again, your cross-hatching lines need to mimic the direction in which the object actually would be in real life, whether that be skin or the surface of an actual still life object. Doesn't really make a difference. It's still the same thing. You're still reacting to the surface, meaning this is a curve this way. I'm going to start to lift. Really lightly. Okay. A few more layers in the darker zone. Lift, 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 lift. And there should be somewhere you barely touch the page. Okay, switching to my 2B pencil, that mid-tone, I'm going to block this edge in. Actually kind of just filling that edge in really, really dark at that stage. And then starting that transition again. And my super dark, you always want to push your darks and push your whites, which is leaving it not gray. And still beginners like to, I just realized this comes up a little bit, so I'm going to fill that in. I'm always mindful, I'm always aware of the pressure from my hand to the pencil to the paper. And then, of course, secondary is what pencil I'm using, which makes a big difference. Okay, I'm going to rotate that back around so you can see where I'm at. So again, we've done these two, and you can see that transition, very soft and smooth. And again, we can kind of step that up a little bit. What I don't see is random scribbling. I should not see, if it was a shape like that, I should not see just filling in and then trying to kind of force it and clean it up a little bit. I should not see where it goes multiple directions. So here's that same shape. I should not see where you're kind of filling in this way, and then you start to go that way, and then you start to go that way, and then you start to go that way. It should be consistent. Notice I always determine what are the two kind of crossing directions, and then you keep it consistent. It gives a nice smooth feel, really nice transition, and it starts to stick out as you go. So that's your job for this worksheet. Keep going. Again, each one that you look at, you're analyzing, okay, here's my darker edge, and here's the direction in which it points. Now, some of them aren't going to go all the way to your ebony 8B pencil. Some of them might only stay with a 2H, being very light. Some of these areas need it, and then some may not. So that is your judgment call. And again, some areas become the negative space, which we already did a positive and negative activity. So that actually gets left alone, and the shading is reacting to it, around the surface of it. Good luck. Have fun.